Welcome to Jared Scott Outdoors, your source in the field for local outdoor news. This week on Jared Scott Outdoors, it's time to go pheasant hunting. Stay tuned. Jared Scott Outdoors on KPVI is brought to you by Camp Chef, the Miracle Centers of Idaho Falls and Pocatello, and Stone Ridge Dental. These companies are the ones that make the show possible. If you enjoy the show, support them as they support the outdoors. Companies like Curtis and Porter Law, Crossroads RV, and these other local businesses also help in making the show a success.
If you're looking for a great deal on an RV, then don't miss the giant construction sale at Crossroads RV. You can save thousands now with blowout pricing on every new and used RV in stock. We're building a new building, and these units have to go. Travel trailers, fifth wheels, and truck campers from Lance, Coachman, Coleman, and more. We're breaking ground and making room. Everything priced to move now at Crossroads RV, next to City Hall in Chubbuck.
Whether hearing loved ones or a conversation on the phone or an elk bugle, until you've lost your hearing, it's really hard to understand how much a hearing loss can affect you. I know this because I've had a hearing loss my entire life, and I've been wearing hearing aids now for 35 years. I've worn many hearing aids, both good and bad, and I have found that a quality hearing aid can make a huge difference. Whether you want to hear loved ones or just continue doing the things you love, don't let a hearing loss sneak up on you. Call and schedule an appointment to have your hearing checked for free. We'll do a comprehensive hearing exam, and we'll let you know if you have a hearing loss and what your options are.
What if you could design an outdoor kitchen at a price you could afford? With Camp Chef's durable cooking equipment, you can own a custom kitchen that's built to last for years. You can grill, bake, boil, deep fry, and saute right in your own patio or backyard. Transform your Camp Chef into a griddle, barbecue box, or high-output burner in just minutes. From pork roast to ribs and chicken, Camp Chef's smoke vault or pellet grill get the job done. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
As I mentioned before the break, this week on Jared Scott Outdoors, we're heading out for a pheasant hunt. Now it's the annual Pheasant Forever Youth Hunt. And we're going to meet up with 4 new youth this year and see how they do on the hunt. You never know what's going to happen. Now, of course, you might notice out here it looks like a little different area than we've normally gone to. And that's because this year we're going to be hunting on Lane Elkington's property. And he's the one who purchased this at the Pheasant Forever banquet it's a kind of a donation to the Pheasants Forever, and then a way for him to help get more youth involved in hunting. So we'd like to thank Lane for buying this hunt and allowing us to come out here and do this hunt. So we're gonna have a great time following these kids, see how they do on this pheasant hunt, and then we're gonna follow that up with some shotgun shooting and handgun shooting. It's gonna be a fun show. Let's get after it. This week's pheasant hunt is closed captioned by the guys at the Idaho Falls, Rexburg, and Pocatello Miracle Centers, Jim Williams and Barry Finley. If you've started to lose your hearing because of too much shooting in the past or working around loud machinery, give these guys a call and see what they can do for you. So on the opening day of the youth pheasant hunt, I met up with all the guys helping to put this bird hunt on, who you'll meet later on, as well as the 4 youth that came ready to bag some pheasants today.
I'm Carson Judy, and I'm 13 years old.
So what are you hoping for?
Probably to get a bird, maybe.
Pretty confident, huh?
No.
I'm Riley Judy. I'm 16. Hopefully get a couple pheasants here today.
I'm Piper Elkington. I'm 15. I'm Kenna Perez. I'm 15, and I'm just hoping for a good time.
Before heading out, Mike took a couple minutes to explain to the youth what to expect.
You'll notice the dog gets really birdy. He'll start getting real excited. And then when he goes on point, it's almost like he's a statue. He'll completely freeze up. And that's when we'll tell you guys, you'll actually walk up and flush the bird, and it'll probably scare you when it goes off. But don't worry, those shotguns can reach a long ways. They can reach.
Willie made sure that all the hunters knew how to be safe when hunting behind dogs.
When you're walking up to the dog, the gun's in the air, you're not pointing the gun out here. And the safety's on. And you do not take the safety off until the gun's going up. You don't bring the gun up this way, you bring the gun up and out. That's all you have to remember, and we'll have a good day.
All right, I'm Mike Gray. I'm with STG Kennels. I'm going to be the dog handler today, so I will be the one taking care of the dogs, getting them pointed in the right direction, or they're pointing us in the right direction. But I'll be handling them, telling them when to hold, come back. They'll retrieve the birds to me and be taking care of them.
With that, we were off. Willie and Mike had already planted the roosters they'd be hunting today. As in years past, To make sure the youth had ample opportunity to harvest birds, a dozen roosters were purchased and then released on the property. The dogs that would be doing most of the work today were Reggie, the black dog, and Diva from STG Kennels. As you see how these two dogs work together during the hunt, I hope you'll be as impressed with them as I was. Heading off, we made sure to organize the youth into a shooter and a backup shooter, in case the first one missed. In this manner, we could rotate through the youth, giving them all chances at birds without having too many guns to keep track of at once. In a matter of just a couple hundred yards, Diva and Reggie were on point. They both seemed to have the rooster pinpointed, but as you'll see later, these dogs will honor each other's points. So if one goes on point, the other will automatically stop and honor the other dog's point. Carson and Kenna were the two heading in after this bird. Instead of flushing up, the rooster kept to the weeds for a bit and then surprised everyone when it did flush out. Both shooters got a shot off, but the rooster made a clean getaway. Guess we can just call that a warm-up bird. With plenty of birds still holding out along the fringes of the field, we headed off, tailing behind Reggie and Diva. Sure enough, they birdied up again, and this time it was Piper and Riley who followed Mike in, ready to take their first shots on a pheasant this year. Now you'll notice that even though the hunters move past Reggie, Reggie doesn't move. However, the hunters can't seem to find the bird. Heading back to Reggie, Mike taps him on the head, which lets him know it's okay to move again. With Mike's okay, Reggie checks around and sure enough picks up the bird again a few yards to the left. Unfortunately, this rooster flushes out in a direction that doesn't allow for a safe shot, so once again, another bird flies off to safety. Just a short walk later, the next rooster flushed out as soon as Reggie went on point. These youth were having a rough start to the hunt. Alright, so here's their next chance. With both dogs on point, they slip in ready for another shot.
Go ahead, shoot. There you go.
The first shot was a miss, but unfortunately for the pheasant, it flew within shooting range of the other two hunters that were just watching. Kenna didn't miss a beat and pulled up, dropping the pheasant with a great shot. I thought it funny that when I asked Kenna about the shot, she acted as if missing wasn't even an option.
Here. The first shooter missed it. Nice.
Steven, here.
Bye.
That would be the first bird down. Stay tuned. After the break, we'll see if they can get a few more. You've done it. You planned the hunt, practiced your shots, and then when it counted, filled your tag. Now that your big game is on the ground, who do you trust with your hard-earned game? You know how well you took care of your meat in the field, and you want to know that you're getting your own game back when you pick it up. Where do you take it? Ball Custom Meats. At Ball Custom Meats, game is processed one animal at a time, being cut and wrapped before another is started. This guarantees that you'll get your own meat back. At Ball Custom Meats, you can have it cut to your specifications or just use their hanging and cooler services. After hours, no problem. Call the After Hours phone number and they'll take care of you. When I harvest an elk, I know the meat is clean and healthy. I take care of it from the field to my freezer and then to the dinner table. Gorders honey is no different. Bottled in Blackfoot, it's local. Bee yards scattered all over southeast Idaho supply Gorders with locally grown honey. From our foothills to the river bottoms, bees are collecting nectar that will be made into pure, natural, and raw honey found in a Gorders Honey Bear and at your local grocery store. When it comes to your dinner table, choose local, natural, pure Gorders honey. Earlier, our youth hunters on this Pheasants Forever Youth hunt had a tough time getting started. missing a few, and then finally bagging one. Now let's see what happens for the rest of the hunt. Now here's a perfect example of the dogs honoring another's point. Diva is on point, and so even though Reggie isn't even close, he immediately stops and doesn't move, even though he's not part of the action. The youth were told not to shoot if the bird wasn't high enough to keep the dog safe, which was the case here. All they could do was hold back and let the rooster go. Here's another great example of the dogs honoring each other. This time it's Reggie that's on a beautiful point, and Diva freezes, even though she's well away from the action. Diva will stay here until called on or the bird flushes. That would be another bird off to safety.
Reggie, go.
With the dogs on point again, it was time to knock down a rooster. This time, Riley and Kenna were the designated shooters.
Ready?
Riley didn't let a good opportunity pass and knocked the bird down.
Well, popped up right in front of me. If I missed, it would have been a shame. It was close. So.
Good job. This rooster didn't get off scot-free and was winged a bit. Finding it again, Piper reduced it to possession.
Go. Diva.
When a rooster flushed from behind the hunter, surprising us all, it happened to fly right in front of the youth.
Wait! Nice shot!
With Carson ready, that was a mistake as he bagged his first pheasant of the day.
I got my first bird.
Reggie, whoa!
It's just probably lucky that it came back our way.
There we go. Reggie, whoa!
When the last bird of the day flushed before we were ready, it was a long shot that brought it down.
It was a rainy day, but we had a good day out of the whole thing.
It was really fun.
The hunt was fun, and we all got a bird, and Piper got two.
Glad we had the opportunity, and thanks for having us.
Even though the youth had more misses than hits, the experience as a whole was a great success. They spent time in the field with friends and family, had some good laughs, and made some lasting memories.
Hello, I'm JR from STG Kennels. Just want to say thanks to everybody that came out today. If you are looking for a dog, let me know. We provide puppies and training for our dogs. And if you have your own dogs, we do provide training. We do hunting training, we do obedience training, puppy training. Find us on Facebook, STG Kennels, or stgkennels.com.
Willie Causey out here with Pheasants Forever and putting on the youth hunt this year for them. They all got birds. They had a great time. I would like to thank JR with the STG Dog Kennels for running his dogs and having the opportunity to show them. I'd like to thank Thomas Causey for his support, and I'd like to thank Elkingtons for letting us use their property, and they actually was the ones that purchased the hunt last year at our auction. And I'd like for everybody that could come out to our banquet, which is the last Saturday of January, and we'd be looking forward to seeing you there.
Now I want to switch gears and show you the Boy Scouts of America fundraiser shoot I took my wife and kids to. It actually happened back in August. I just haven't had the opportunity to show you all the fun we had yet. In the event, each person shoots 100 rounds of sporting clays and 100 rounds of handgun targets. Needless to say, there's a lot of shooting going on. The event starts out with breakfast while all the teams of 4 gathered at the Idaho Falls shooting range. Half of the team started with the sporting clays, while the other half were sent over to shoot the handgun portion of the event. My team, which consisted of my wife Candace, my daughter Aubrey, and my friend Mike Anderson and I, started with the handguns. Some time was spent at first explaining the safety rules and how each round would work. Essentially, at each station there were 5 targets. We were given a clip with 7 rounds and would be timed at how fast we'd shoot all 5 targets. We'd shoot each round 3 times, throwing out the worst time. There were 5-second penalties for missing any of the targets, and as a catch, there was 1 target with orange flagging on it, and that was called the stop plate, and had to be shot last. If it was missed, a 30-second penalty was added.
So we're going to go ahead and start. This is a whole brand new thing for us, so here goes nothing, I guess.
Very nice.
Well, I'd have to say I was impressed. She hit them all on her first round. After that, she went for speed, which did improve, although she did miss a few. Next, it was Aubrey's turn. Just like her mom, Aubrey's accuracy decreased as she sped up her shooting, but that was to be expected, as she had never shot handguns before now either.
That was scary.
Stay tuned, we'll see how us guys can do after the break. When we found the perfect home for our family, we got quotes from several lenders. It looked like we'd be paying over $6,000 in closing costs. Then a friend told me to call Legacy Mortgage because their costs were much lower. To my surprise, the closing costs were less than half of the other guys. For my family, saving $3,500 was a big deal. Legacy Mortgage made the process surprisingly easy, even though I'm self-employed, and I saved $3,500. If you're looking to buy, don't throw your money away. If it were me, I'd call Legacy Mortgage, where you'll get personal service and save thousands. A good horse or hunting dog is part of the family. When it's time to care for your animals, call my vet, Dr. Les Stone of Northgate Veterinary Hospital in Idaho Falls. As a fellow outdoorsman and animal lover, he'll take great care of those pets you call family. My hunting rig has over 240,000 miles on it, so let's face it, parts wear out and things need fixed. In fact, while JR at All Things Automotive and Diesel may get sick of hearing from me, he always gets me back on the road. With limited cash for repairs, one of the many things I like about these guys is that they'll let me know what repairs are most important and which ones can wait. When it comes to tune-ups on your boats and ATVs or regular maintenance on your family car, even if it's your work truck that gets used and abused, take them to the guys that I trust. All Things Automotive and Diesel Service.
Bye.
Before the break, the girls had just shot their first round of the Still Challenge. Now Mike and I get to see if we can match them.
Nicely done.
Mike did well right off the bat, so the instructor had him speed it up.
There we go. There we go.
As Mike hit all of them, the instructor had him speed it up even more.
4.15. That's a good time.
Nice shooting, Mike. A great time of 4.1 with no misses. That gave me a time to beat. .9. Mike still had the fastest time. 3.3. Sorry, Mike, that means I just took bragging rights. So there were a few more rounds of steel targets that were similar in that they each had 5 targets with a stop plate. However, most were harder than the first one we did, as the targets were further away and in many cases smaller targets as well.
That one was a lot harder than the last one because they're so much smaller, but it was fun still.
This gives you a chance to come and shoot a whole bunch of different guns in one day, which would probably take, a whole lifetime of buying guns, especially if your wife won't let you buy guns. Still tons of fun. We're enjoying this.
So the one everyone talked about the most was the fully automatic machine gun. This part had a little different setup in that there were 10 targets that fall back when hit, and a clip with 15 bullets. You only get one chance at this round, not 3 like before. Shooters had the choice of slowly squeezing the trigger and aiming at individual targets, or just pulling the trigger, releasing all 15 rounds in a few seconds as you spray the area with bullets. While spraying is more fun, picking individual targets is much more accurate. Let's see how Mike does. Heading down to help reset the targets and count the hits, even the ones that were hit but didn't fall are counted.
That's kind of fun. I'm ready for the zombies now. That's the funnest gun here, I think.
Now it was Aubrey's turn.
She's got a little Annie out there. Hey!
Just one more.
Oh!
That click meant she had no more rounds left. So close.
Oh, I got 9 out of the 10. And
Which is the best round so far out of the day.
So far, the most target that someone has hit so far has been 6, and she got 9. So that means her score was 2 seconds. Fastest so far. I doubt it'll be beat.
Next, it was my turn. You'll see that I start off missing 3 shots in a row, but then got it figured out. As I said, we shot a lot more here at the Steel Challenge range, but without more time to show you all of it, it was time for the next half of the shoot. That is, of course, after lunch, which was catered by the Texas Roadhouse. Steak, potatoes, and Texas Roadhouse rolls, I'll take that meal any day of the week.
Had a blast. Oh, that was a lot of fun. We got to shoot a lot of different stations, big targets, small targets, and now we're going to go eat the next best part of the day.
Lunch was also a good time to put raffle tickets in for some of the many raffle items. Literally thousands of dollars worth of prizes, including some guns.
Pull! There we go. 2. So far I'm beating Jared.
Heading over to the Sporting Clays portion of the event, there were lots of stations to shoot at. In Sporting Clays, 2 clays are thrown out in front of you, and of course a shotgun is used to attempt to break them. Each station is different on where they're thrown and the speed they fly at. Some of them fly one after another, while on the other stations they're both thrown at the same time. So yes, you really have to be on the ball. The idea is that they simulate many different kinds of upland birds or waterfowl in how they fly in or away. In fact, this one was rolled down the hill, bouncing as it goes, to simulate a rabbit.
2 kills.
Needless to say, the 100 rounds of Sporting Clays was a ton of fun. I wasn't nearly as proficient with the shotgun as I was a handgun, but we had a great time at both of them.
6-4-6.
When we'd finally finished all the rounds, we headed back to the tent where the other teams were waiting. While we laughed and teased at how the shooting went, all the raffle item winners were drawn, and then we ended the day by giving out prizes and certificates to the top 3 teams in both the Steel Challenge and the Sporting Clay events, as well as for the top shooter individually in each event. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. We came out here and just had a great time doing this Boy Scouts of America fundraiser shoot. Now, this will happen again next year. I'm not quite sure which weekend, but either way, just kind of listen and pay attention for it because it is a lot of fun. They need to get more companies out here and do this. Basically, you know, you're sponsoring a team and it's a donation to the Boy Scouts of America. That's really what it is. $1,000 will get you a team in, and they'll spend half of that just on ammunition because they supply all the ammunition, and then you get the prizes. There was hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of prizes here, and anyways, you know, you put a little money in, it's a donation, you get to write it off on taxes, but you gotta come out here and just have an incredible time. So if you're a business that would like to sponsor a team, maybe you've got some employees that you just really want to show them some appreciation for what they've done, sponsor a team. Come out here. You can sponsor 2, 3, or 4 teams. They've got all kinds of packages. But as you can see, it's just a great time. It's a good cause. The money helps out the Scouts. So just overall, something very positive. Now make sure to stay tuned because that's going to wrap it up. But after the break, we've got some Camp Chef gear to give away. I pick where I hunt elk each fall. I pick where I want to fish. I even pick the mountains I want to climb. The point is, I get to choose where I spend my valuable time. Did you know you can also pick where you go to physical therapy after surgery or an accident? Just like all the other important decisions you make in your life, you can tell your doctor you'd like to go to Foothills Rehab. From a therapy pool to a climbing wall and everything in between, they have the skills and equipment to get you better as quickly as possible. Located right across from Cabela's, they're easy to find.
When it comes to physical therapy needs, tell your doctor you want Foothills Rehab, and we'll be happy to be part of that choice.
By now you know that the Army Surplus Warehouse has much more than just Army Surplus. With hunting season underway, let me show you a few of them. They have Everly stocked Badland and Tenzing backpacks, lots of King's camo, waterfowl gear, Primos elk hunting calls, game bags, bone saws and knives, Nikon and Alpen binos, spotting scopes and rangefinders, Mountain House mills, and even ammo. For those that enjoy airsoft games, you'll want to check them out. You know the drill. Stop in at Army Surplus Warehouse for the things you need, and you might be surprised at what else you find. It's time for the Camp Chef Photo of the Week contest. This is your chance to show off the beautiful backcountry and wildlife you've seen, as well as share your success in the field with the rest of us. The one with the most votes wins some Camp Chef gear. Brian Kinghorn went out in search of rutting bucks last year with his camera. This is just one of the nice bucks he found. This is kind of like the Where's Waldo picture. Do you see it? Steve Hobbs was out looking for turkeys this spring and spotted one up in the trees. Todd Holm was in the river bottoms at Firth when this turkey crossed in front of him. Alright, you gotta look close. What do you see? Is it the buck, the birds on the deer, or the bobcat that's in the background? Kathy Windley snapped this shot with all the critters by the Indian Hills School. Marcia Sayer was at the Mackey Cemetery on Memorial Day where she spotted this baby owl keeping an eye on her. Speaking of owls, Darren Robinson captured this neat shot of a great horned owl as he hiked through one of our wildlife refuges. This isn't a sight you want to see up close. Courtney Madison was able to capture this great image. I'm hoping she had a good lens and wasn't too close. In this situation, the photographer was too close. Cody Goody was out shed hunting when he suddenly came across this grizzly only 25 feet away. Somehow, he had enough composure to snap a few photos of the big grizz and then carefully sneak out of there. He said it was amazing how quiet the bear was. Cody, congratulations. It was a close contest, but your close-up photo got the votes this week, meaning you just won the Camp Chef package celebrating 100 years of national parks. Do you have some photos you'd like to share with the rest of us? Just email them to photos@jaredscottoutdoors.com and I'll show them off for you. And don't forget, go to jaredscottoutdoors.com to vote for your favorite photo and see past photos. When it comes to cooking, Camp Chef is the way to cook outdoors. Jared Scott Outdoors was brought to you by Camp Chef, the Miracle Centers of Idaho Falls and Pocatello, Stone Ridge Dental, and these other local companies like Crossroads RV and Curtis and Porter Law. Without their help, I couldn't bring these fun adventures to you. If given the opportunity, please show your thanks by passing on your support to them. Tune in next week at the same time for another episode of Jared Scott Outdoors.